what we really call happiness. Happiness is one of those words that seems simple until you start to look at it more closely. It is easy to say, almost mundane, but this word encompasses a whole universe. Feelings, meanings, expectations, pain, light, fears, memories, hopes. We throw it into conversation as if we are talking about something that everyone understands. But the longer you live, the clearer you see. People call completely different things happiness, and often suffer precisely because they are looking for something that is not theirs. People have been searching for happiness since the moment they gained the ability to look inside themselves. It was the search for happiness that made ancient man light a fire, not only for warmth, but also for the feeling that he was capable of changing at least part of the world around him. It was happiness that drove philosophers to seek truth and poets to express the inexpressible. Travelers went further and further, without even knowing where, simply because an inner voice told them, there is something greater there than here. But no matter how much a person searches, happiness remains a paradoxical phenomenon. The harder you try to hold on to it, the faster it disappears. The illusion of possession. Most human disappointments are related to the fact that we confuse happiness with possession. A house, money, recognition, love. All these become measuring instruments, rulers with which a person tries to determine their normality. But how can you measure something that is formless by its very nature? How can we hold on to something that flows? Material achievements bring joy, but joy is a flash. It is short, bright, and always vulnerable. Happiness is light, and light does not belong to us. It simply is. We get what we want, rejoice, and then immediately begin to fear losing it. Sometimes a person does not have time to enjoy what they have received. They are already guarding it as if it were a glass ball, ready to break at any moment. But true happiness never lives in fear. If there is fear inside, it is not happiness, it is dependence on the result. The most subtle observation that a mature person makes is that happiness is not something you can hold in your hands, but something your hands stop clutching. When we stop fighting with ourselves, happiness is quiet. It does not like shouting, it is not in a hurry, it does not require proof. It appears where the internal war ends, the war of expectations demands habitual dialogues with oneself, where every argument ends with a feeling of guilt. When a person stops demanding explanations from life, they suddenly notice. Happiness has always been in their perception. It does not come when everything is perfect. It comes when you stop waiting for perfection. When you stop comparing your life to scenes from other people's movies. When you accept imperfection as part of the whole. When you realize that everything doesn't have to be right, just living is enough. Happiness is not a victory over suffering. It is the understanding that suffering is part of the journey, but not the whole journey. That pain is not an enemy, but a signpost. That sometimes in human life, overcoming is more meaningful than pleasure. And then, for the first time, a person can say, yes, life is not always fair, but it is mine. There is no demand, no claim in these words. There is only quiet gratitude, pleasure, meaning, and mature happiness. There are two different paths, pleasure and meaning. The pursuit of pleasure makes a person tired. It is an endless race for the next emotion, for a new dose of impressions, for another reason to say, now I am happy. But pleasure is fleeting by nature. It demands more and never gives peace. Meaning, on the contrary, can support a person even in difficult times. It is not blind, it guides. It does not demand, it reveals. Happiness that is built on meaning is different. It is deeper, quieter, attentive to detail. Such happiness does not disappear at the first sign of pain, because it does not deny pain. It endures it. There are moments when a person cries, but still understands that they are living correctly. And this is an amazing, mature happiness. Not bright, not Instagram happiness without gloss, but real. Happiness as a moment of presence. Sometimes happiness comes suddenly, for no reason. You're walking down the street, feeling the wind on your face, hearing people talking, smelling the aroma of bread from the bakery, and suddenly, something inside you calms down. The internal dialogues stop. Everything becomes clear and simple. This moment is like breathing without effort. You just exist. You are here. You are now. And that is enough. In such moments, you understand one simple thing. Happiness is not an event, but a state of presence. It comes when you stop thinking that the world should be different. When you allow yourself to be who you are. When you don't try to get more out of life than it gives you. How happiness changes with age. As we age, our understanding of happiness changes. In youth, it seems like something bright, loud, necessarily connected with movement, success, recognition. It seems that happiness is when everything works out. When I am strong, in demand, a winner. In maturity, happiness becomes quieter. We begin to appreciate not impressions, but moments that have already happened. Not the quantity of events, but the quality of presence. We stop chasing the storm and start looking for the shore. And only at the end of the journey does a person often discover. Happiness was always there, not as a reward, and not even as a goal, but as a way of looking at things. We just looked in the wrong direction for a long time. Happiness is a space, not a goal. We are used to treating happiness as a summit. We need to go there, try hard, conform, change. But the summit moves faster than we do. Happiness is not a destination. It is a space in which we can be. It is the air we must learn to breathe. It is the ability to be attentive to moments. It is the ability to notice life before it passes us by. When we stop chasing happiness, it stops hiding from us. A few questions to ask yourself. What am I trying to hold on to, even though it doesn't want to be held on to? What moments am I missing because I'm waiting for something bigger? What in me is afraid of happiness? And why? How has my understanding of happiness changed in recent years? And what am I feeling right now at this very moment? If you answer at least one of these questions honestly, something inside you will already begin to shift. And most importantly, happiness is not a light at the end of the road. It is the light that falls on the road as we walk along it. With gratitude and silence. Zohar Leo Pafi de Erdad. Between thoughts.